Hi, I'm Susie Carroll, and this is for Education 665. Okay, we're going to talk today about a strategy called visualizing. And I'm going to take you to a classroom in your mind's eye, which is part of our visualizing. Okay, I'd have all the children come up here in front of me, and we'd sit here for circle time to start with. And this is where we'd start the lesson. Okay, boys and girls, remember how we talked about in our last unit, we talked about text to text, text to world, text to self, and how you could make connections with that, and it would help you comprehend what you're reading if you could make those connections. Well, we're going to talk about another strategy today called visualizing. Visualizing is using your mind's eye to think of a big picture, okay? And I kind of brought you a picture here so that you could see what that is. I've got a picture of a student here who's either reading something or writing. Looks like they're writing to me. But there's a big picture up here of a bubble, and she must be thinking about a little girl riding on a horse. But she's using her mind's eye to think about this. So we are going to talk about visualizing today. Okay, I want you to listen to me as I read this first part of this book, the very first page. Before we do that, though, I guess I need to back up and tell you what the name of the book is. The name of our book today is Owl Moon. This is one of my favorite books. It has beautiful illustrated pictures in it, and it is by Jane Yolen, and it's illustrated by John, I'm not sure how to say his last name, Schoenherr. I'm not sure if that's correct or not, but that's the illustrator. Does anybody remember what the author does? Let's just revisit that. Yes?
He writes the words.
That's right, he does write the words. And the illustrator has a very important part to do too. Does anybody remember what the illustrator does?
He draws the pictures.
He draws the pictures. One day you might grow up and be an illustrator of a book too. I think that would be lots of fun. But if you're going to be an illustrator, you're going to have to think about what the words are telling you. So listen as I read this first page in Owl Moon. It was late one winter night, long past my bedtime, when Pa and I went owling. There was no wind. The trees stood still as giant statues. And the moon was so bright, the sky seemed to shine. Somewhere behind us, a train whistle blew, long and low, like a sad, sad song. Okay, now I'm going to reread a couple of sentences here. And what I want you to do is you're going to turn to your reading partner, and you're going to think, and you're going to share, or you're going to pair, and then you're going to share. Okay, like we've practiced in the past. That's one of our strategies that we used in reading, and every one of you know how to do that. Okay, so listen. The trees stood still as giant statues, and the moon was so bright the sky seemed to shine. Okay, now's the time to think, pair, and share. All right, I'm going to give you just a few minutes to do that with your reading partner. All right, let's come back. Now, when I was looking at this and reading it, the trees stood still as giant statues. Can you see that with your mind's eye? Can you see those trees just standing tall? And I know that it's wintertime because it said in the very first sentence, it was late one winter night. Now those trees, are they going to have leaves on them, or are they going to be bare? I'm going to see them bare. Is this what you were seeing too when you were thinking with your mind's eye? Good, I'm glad it was. And the moon was so bright, the sky seemed to shine. Oh, think about that. Can you see it? Can you see it in your mind's eye? I can. Oh my goodness. All right, let's go ahead and read through this story. And I'm going to stop at some of these places, and I'm going to give you another chance to do your thinking, your pairing, and your sharing, okay? All right. I could hear it through the woolen cap Pa had pulled down over my ears. A farm dog answered the train. And then a second dog joined in. They sang out, trains and dogs, for a real long time. And when their voices faded away, it was quiet as a dream. We walked on toward the woods, Pa and I. Oh, can you see it? You're walking toward the woods. They're probably just standing out there, and you're probably out in the field, and it's nighttime. Do you want to go in those woods? Not so sure I want to, but I'm with my pa. I guess I'd be okay. Our feet crunched over the crisp snow, and little gray footprints followed us. Pa made a long shadow, but mine was short and round. Think about that. Can you see those shadows on the ground? Can you see the pa's shadow nice and long? And then your shadow's kind of shorter because you're just a child, just like you are. So if I stood up, you would see a long shadow, and if you were standing beside me, you'd see a shorter shadow, wouldn't you? Think about it in your mind's eye. Visualize it. I had to run after him every now and then to keep up, and my short, round shadow bumped after me. But I never called out. If you go owling, you have to be quiet. That's what Pa always says. I had been waiting to go owling with Pa for a long, long time. We reached the line of pine trees, black and pointy against the sky, and Pa held my hand. I stopped right where I was and waited. He looked up as if searching the stars, as if reading a map up there. The moon made his face into a silver mask. Then he called, "Woo, woo, 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 woo." The sound of a great horned owl. Woo, 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 woo. Again he called out, and then again, after each call, he was silent. And for a moment, we both listened. But there was no answer. Pa shrugged, and I shrugged. I was not disappointed. My brothers all said, sometimes there's an owl, and sometimes there ain't. We walked on. I could feel the cold as if someone's icy hand was palmed down on my back, and my nose and the tops of my cheeks felt cold and hot at the same time. But I never said a word. If you go owling, you have to be quiet and make your own heat. Now I want you to think about that picture too. You're walking along. How do you feel? What does it look like around you? Okay, those are some things that you can visualize. Now I would go ahead and finish this story with the children, but I'm not going to do that today. Okay, we're going to go on to the next part of our lesson. We practiced what it was like to visualize. We've done some think, pair, and share at those moments where we were talking about it during the lesson. And this is going to help you with comprehension. That's why we're doing this. I just wanted you to have another strategy to use so that it would help you understand what you are reading. And if you can visualize it in your mind, it's going to help you. Okay, now you're going to have a try. I have a paper here. And I want you to listen to me first. Just like in a regular classroom. Okay, I want you to listen to this, and you're going to use your mind's eye for this as well. It was a rainy, cold day with not a glimpse of the sun. The gooey water was oozing through my cloth tennis shoes, and I saw nothing ahead but a miserable journey. My car had broken down about 2 miles back, and I had 5 more miles to go. The rain was cascading down the round about me. I thought I could hear the slurping of someone's feet walking behind me. It was too dark to see beyond the end of my arm, except when the lightning flashed. Now, can you see yourself in this situation? Put yourself there. Okay? And you're going to do another think, pair, share. And I'm going to put this up on the board here, so that you can look at it while you're discussing it with your friend, your reading buddy. You can reread it if you need to, but, oh, there it goes. That may not work very well, but we'll try it again. Okay, I want you to read through here, turn to your reading buddy, and think, pair, and share. Okay, now we're going to come back. Can any of you visualize, give me a visualization of what you were seeing during this reading? How did it feel to be there? Can somebody answer that for me?
Scary.
A little bit scary, wasn't it? So if you were drawing a picture, you'd want to draw that picture with kind of a scary face on them, wouldn't you? What about how it felt? How did it feel? Besides,
Cold.
it was cold. Were they wet? Yeah, they were kind of wet too. What about your shoes? What were your shoes like?
Squishy.
Yeah, they were. Have you ever had squishy shoes before? Been out in the rain or in a mud puddle? Sometimes it's fun, and sometimes it's not. But anyway, that's kind of what you're going to do. What about when the lightning flashed? What do you see happening there? What can you visualize?
You can see stuff.
You can see a little bit farther, can't you? So you might, we were talking about somebody was walking behind us. Maybe you could draw a shadow in there if you were illustrating this picture. You might draw somebody lurking back in the trees. I don't know. It'd be up to you because you're the illustrator. You're the one who's going to decide what it looks like by visualizing in your mind. Okay, now at this point, since we've done this little activity, I'll take this back down. Lay it to the side. Now, what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to have you get into your independent reading time. You're going to go back to your tables and you're going to do your independent reading. I'm going to come around and I'm going to conference with you, and we're going to try to find a place in your reading about what you can visualize. You'll take your Post-it notes and you'll mark it in there, and if you're having trouble finding a place to visualize, I'll help you find it. And when you get that done, you're going to draw a picture of what you were reading. And then we will come to the illustrator's chair. I'll have a chair set up here, and it'll be the illustrator's chair. And you will be able to share what you were visualizing from just a couple of lines. We don't want any more than 2 sentences that you're going to visualize. I think that'll be plenty. But this will help you with your comprehension, and that's what we're working on today. Thank you. That's the end of my lesson.